Man, this is one dirty kitty cat. I'll tell you, I've never seen a Dodge Neon with such a fancy body kit. Just kidding, it's a Hellcat. My name is Nick Rutter. Welcome to Mckee37.com. In this video, I'm going to show you how to wash your car from start to finish. But first, I have to head over to my Carolina detailing cart and go over the supplies with you. Any good car wash starts with quality products. And the first thing you'll notice is this beautiful detailing cart that I have in front of me. This is the Mckee37 Carolina detailing cart. And this cart is available in two configurations. The one I have here has the cutout so you can mount your bucket in it. And the advantage of having the bucket cutout is that your wash bucket is at waist height for most people, so you're not constantly bending over to reload your wash mitt with soapy water. As someone that's experienced 2 back injuries, this is worth its weight in gold. It's awesome to have. And besides the bucket, there's also 3 tiers of storage, so you have all your supplies in one area. Chances are, at some point in your life, you've washed your car where you've got your wheel cleaner over here, you've got your brush over here, your towel over here. Well, this consolidates everything, and it also makes it easy to store in your garage. Now, this is going to be a maintenance wash on this Charger. This is not like a strip wash or a show car wash. This is a maintenance wash, which the process and the products I'm going to show you is the exact same application that I do at home on my own car. So these are products that I use for every single detail, which we'll get into each respective product when we cover the wheels and the paint and the bugs and everything in between. But sit tight, grab some notes, grab a pen, prepare to learn a lot, because I'm going to walk you through each step starting with the wheels and tires. So let's get to it. When you wash your vehicle, you always start with the wheels and tires first. And the reason why is because as you scrub your wheels, as you spray your wheel cleaner, and as you rinse everything off, you're going to get some splatter on the paint. So wheels and tires first, and then you'll wash the rest of the vehicle. Plus, the wheels and tires, they take the longest, so it's nice to get that out of the way first. Now, I have a dedicated wheel and tire bucket set up here, and that's to avoid cross-contamination. You do not want to use the same bucket that you use to wash the paint as you would to wash the wheels and tires, because especially with a car like this, you're going to have a lot of brake dust in your bucket, and it's not worth the risk. So buy an extra bucket, and we have really nice labels so you can clearly designate which buckets are for wheels and tires and which buckets are for paint. So I got my bucket set up here, and we have our coating prep auto wash, which a lot of guys ask me, they say, Nick, I bought your graphene coating kit or your ceramic coating kit, and this is the wash that you use to strip everything off. And they say, well, I have half a bottle now. What should I do with it? Well, a great application and off-label use for this is a soap for your wheel bucket. So this is a stronger formula. It is alkaline, so it makes a great car wash for your actual wheel and tire bucket. Provides lots of lubrication. It's really slick. So I start off by adding some of that to my bucket, and it doesn't take a whole lot. And you'll activate your suds. And it's all about lubrication. Whether you're washing your wheels or your paint, lubrication is key. The more lubrication, the less likely you are to cause any damage. So I'll start with the wheels, and then I'll move to the tires. So because wheels and tires are very different materials, I prefer to use a dedicated wheel cleaner and a dedicated tire cleaner. A lot of companies have 2-in-1 products, and frankly, I'm not a huge fan, because this rubber is far different than the matte paint on this wheel, or even if the paint were glossy. So 2 different materials, that allows us to really dial in a product for brake dust, and then also to dial in a product for cleaning the browning off the tires. So in our line, we have several options for different wheel and tire cleaners, starting with our most popular, which is our foaming wheel cleaner gel. This is the most powerful formula. This will remove even the most heavily caked on brake dust, especially from an older vehicle. If you're a detailer and you're detailing a car that has not been washed in 3, 4, 5, 6 months, or even years, this will clean the wheels. Now, with this Charger right here, this vehicle has high-performance brake pads because it's a high-performance vehicle. And there's really not a whole lot of grease and grime on here. This vehicle is washed frequently, meaning once a week or once every 2 weeks. So I'm actually going to use our Xtreme iron remover. And this is part of a paint decontamination spray, and it dissolves embedded iron particles from the paint and also from the wheels. But the reason I'm using this on this Charger is because there's really just brake dust on these wheels, and there's no need for any type of degreaser components. So I prefer this formula for routine cleaning, unless, now, the wheels are not that dirty. If the wheels are not that dirty, then I would use our gentle wheel cleaner. This is a pleasant product to use, meaning it does not have any type of harsh smell. It's safe on all wheel finishes, like the other two products are, and it's a thicker gel formula. So on a regular vehicle, you know, that you wash weekly, that does not have high performance brake pads like this is going to be your go-to wheel cleaner. But for the car that does have high performance brake pads, or maybe your spouse's vehicle, which you might not wash weekly, maybe bi-weekly, that's when you would use the Xtreme iron remover. But for routine cleaning, that's the way to go. So I'm going to grab my Xtreme iron remover, and you never want to clean wheels that are hot to the touch. That's really, really important. If the wheels are hot to the touch, meaning you just drove the vehicle, or if it's been sitting out in the sun for a long time, don't clean the wheels. And the reason why is that will accelerate the drying time of the cleaner. And you do not want to let anything dry in the wheels, whether it's a Mckee's 37 wheel cleaner or a car wash or the other guy's products, whatever it is. So if necessary, take your hose and rinse everything off. I generally spray the Xtreme iron remover on wheels that are dry to the touch, and the reason why is because if you rinse it with water first, you're going to dilute the product. So I spray it on, and of all the different iron removers in the market, this has the least evasive smell, and that's because our chemists worked really, really hard to remove all the bad stuff that makes some of our competition smell bad and also extremely corrosive. So this product is safe on all wheel finishes, which what we're cleaning right now are matte wheels on this Charger, and these are about as delicate as they come. So it's worth investing in a higher quality product. You know, this is a $85,000, $90,000 car. What's an extra $5 for a better wheel cleaner? It's really nothing. And not only that, the brakes in this car cost as much as a 10-year-old Hyundai. So it's worth buying the good products. So you spray it on, and you'll notice that I'm not coughing or hacking. Again, it's because this really doesn't smell that bad. It actually has a pleasant fragrance. And you want to make sure you cover the face of the wheel as well. And then what I'll do is I have my dedicated bucket, like I mentioned, and typically I use the Woolies line of wheel brushes. The reason why is these are the highest quality, they're made in USA, they're backed by an awesome company, so if you ever have any issues, they'll replace them free of charge, within reason. Just high quality brushes, great product line. So there's 3 sizes, I'll dunk those in my wash bucket. And we recently started carrying the spoke wheel brush, which is designed to get behind the spokes here, which I'm going to start with this guy actually. So I'll dunk that in my bucket, and lots of lubrication now, and I'll take it, and I'll just get back here. And a car like this is typically owned by a car guy. This is not bought by a little old lady to go to the library. This is owned by a car guy, and typically car guys like to keep their car as clean as possible. So cleaning behind the spokes makes a big difference. And this brush has a non-slip rubber grip, so you don't have to worry about it coming out of your hands, especially when your hands get wet with car wash. And like I mentioned, the customer service at the Braun Brush Company, that's the actual name of the company that makes the wheel Woolies, it is second to none. So I always like to support those guys and give them a great shout out. They make the highest quality products. So after you clean behind the spokes, there's a new brush that we just came out with. This is called the Barrel Blade, and this is really unique. There's a flexible shaft in here, and this microfiber cover snaps on. And when you have vehicles like this, this Charger has 20-inch wheels, but it has probably 18-inch brake rotors. So there's very little room between the actual rotor and the wheel. So this guy is much thinner than the wheel Woolies. I'll use this to clean in those areas. But typically, unless I'm working on a vehicle like this, the wheel Woolies are more than enough. Oh yeah, look at that, beautiful. That gets right in where no other brush would. So you can see there's hardly any room between this rotor and the actual barrel of the wheel. So this guy gets in there beautifully. I'm pretty sure the owner of this Charger will be buying one of these before he leaves today. And cleaning the barrel, not only is it satisfying, but it's also really important because you can spend a lot of time cleaning the rest of the wheel, but if you don't clean the barrel, then what happens is as you drive and as the wheel gets wet, it's going to release brake dust and get brake dust all over your freshly cleaned wheel. So it's worth spending the extra time just to clean that barrel. And this has a nice handle too, and it's really long, like the wheel Woolies, so I'm not busting my knuckles here. and it gets in the tight areas. In there. And just be as thorough as you can. And you can start at the top and work your way down, or you can start at the bottom and work your way up. I've seen a lot of other videos where guys get really scientific about that, and I usually just stick the brush in the first hole I see. I mean, you can do it however you want. You know, why don't you leave a comment below and let me know how you like to clean the wheels. But this is the way that I do it. And to me, it works really well. Now, there's some areas like, again, you have this massive, let's say 18-inch brake rotor. Someone can fact check me and correct me if I'm wrong. But then we also have this 6-piston brake caliper, and the brake caliper squeezes the rotor to stop the car. Now, there's even less room in between that. So I've got my smallest wheel Woolie here, somewhere in my bucket, and I'll use that guy to really get in the hard-to-reach areas, because nothing is going to fit back here. So you can see this fella slides right in there. The handle's flexible, so it gives me extra cleaning power, and it really gets in there. And what's also nice, since the brush is flexible, what happens is, let's say if it was stiff, you could actually cause damage on something that you poke into. So since it's flexible, you don't have to worry about causing any damage to any sensitive brake components. So the Woolies company, Braun brush, they thought of everything, and this brush is truly awesome. I mean, the whole line is awesome, but when you buy it from Mckee37.com, we sell a kit that has all 3 sizes, and then the spoke brushes are sold separately. So buy the kit, get all 3, then get the spoke brush too. You won't regret it. And then at this point, just because it's been a few minutes and I'm actually working in direct sun, which is less than ideal conditions, but again, it's a testament to the quality of my product line, I'm going to clean the face of the wheel just to get it wet. So for that, I like to use the Boar's Hair wheel brush by Woolies. This has flagged bristles that are split fibers at the tips. Very soft, very gentle, and matte finish wheels scratch very easily. So high quality brush, no issues at all. And you can hear that maybe the plastic is hitting the wheel. That's not a big deal. The wheel is much, much harder than the plastic on this brush. So these guys thought of everything. And also the handle here, it has a textured finish. So as your hands get wet with car wash or with wheel cleaner, whatever it is, you don't have to worry about the brush slipping out of your hands. And you'll notice that I'm reloading my brushes frequently, and you want to have plenty of lubrication when you perform this process. You'll hear me say that over and over and over again. I would even challenge you in the comments box, count how many times I say lubrication in this video and leave it below. Okay, so this is pretty good overall. And I actually, you know, it's funny, a lot of people don't enjoy cleaning wheels and tires. I find it very therapeutic. It's enjoyable. Now, granted, if I owned this Charger, I would not enjoy doing it weekly. This car produces so much brake dust where, I mean, you almost have to wash it weekly, otherwise it's not really manageable, and it's too much time. But this is very satisfying because it's to see the before and after. And I can actually get in here too and clean the 6-piston Brembo calipers because there's so much room. So this brush is awesome, and the bristles are long enough to where you can get hard to reach areas. Very soft, chemical resistant. So next up, I'll use the Woolies detail brush. This is that's a 10-inch long brush, and it has about 3-inch long flagged bristles. It's very soft, very effective. I'll use this for the lug nuts, the valve stem here, other parts of the brake caliper, where the other brushes won't fit, and of course, in between the lug nut holes, where most other brushes don't fit. And there's other brushes on the market that are like a foam alternative for cleaning the lug nut holes. I'm not a huge fan of those because they just don't last that long. You know, the trend you'll see with the products that I use, that of course we sell at Mckee37.com, they're the highest quality. Yes, you pay more up front than buying the Chinese knockoffs off auction sites. Yes, there's no denying that, but you get much, much higher quality. Where the other brushes you'll be buying frequently because they don't last, you buy these and they last forever. And if there's an issue, just call me or call the Braun brush company and we'll replace it for you. And this also works well to clean in between the actual tire and the wheel rim here. That's an area that most people miss. And then of course the massive 6-piston calipers by Brembo. And it's really nice because I don't have to worry about scratching this wheel. So, you know, if I'm detailing for a living and I'm working on customers' vehicles all day long, it's reassuring knowing that I'm using the highest quality products and scratching is not really a concern. So, and again, since we are working in the sun, I'm just going to take my horsehair brush and just go over this real fast to get it wet with soapy water. Because water creates water spots. Soap does not create water spots, which I'll elaborate more on that in a minute. I'll just get this wet to give me some more dwell time. And then it's time to clean the tires. So for the tires, I'll use our tire and rubber rejuvenator, which, like I mentioned earlier, it's better to have a dedicated wheel cleaner and then to have a dedicated tire cleaner versus a two-in-one product, because most of the two-in-one products, from my testing, they're primarily tire cleaners that are also labeled as a wheel cleaner. Yes, tire and rubber rejuvenator will clean wheels, there's no doubt about it. It's simply not the best choice. Our wheel cleaner does a better job because it actually dissolves the iron particles. So take this guy and I'll spray it on. And we recently reformulated this so it does not have as strong of an odor. It actually has a pleasant fragrance now. And what this does is it cleans the tire and it removes the browning, but it's not too strong to where it'll cause the natural rubber conditioners and the anti-ozonants to leach out of the tire. So, you know, a lot of people will use an all-purpose cleaner to clean their tires, and they'll say, hey, look, there's tons of browning, it must be working better. Well, we could make this twice as strong. The issue is that it'll pull too much from the tire, and the tire will actually bloom prematurely, meaning it'll turn brown the next day or 2 days later. So spray it on. You'll notice I'm not coughing or hacking. We have our low-profile tire brush here, part of the Auto Forge line. This has short, stiff nylon bristles, and I'll simply scrub the tire. And this is great especially for low-profile tires like on this Charger here, because if you're using a larger brush, then you have to worry about getting on the wheel and possibly scratching it. So this guy is great. And then before I rinse everything off, I'll just quickly take a wheel Woolies brush and I'll clean the fender liner here. This is the larger wheel Woolie, which for most vehicles, this is what I would use to clean the barrels instead of the barrel blade. But for cars like this, the barrel blade has an edge. And you simply stick it in, and you just go like this. Fits perfectly. Now, if you have a lowered car, then the barrel blade might actually work better. I'll have to try that this weekend on my wife's GLI, because that car is lowered. And cleaning the fender liners, it's just a nice detail. Clean the lip here too. And this brush is soft enough to where if it gets in the paint, it's not going to scratch, it's not going to cause any harm, especially with the car wash lubrication. Take this out, and then the last step is to rinse everything off, and afterwards I'll apply a coat of our Hydro Graphene ceramic coating. This is a spray-on, rinse-off graphene coating. It's water activated, so you apply it to a wet surface, you spray it on like you'll see here in a second, and then you rinse it off, and it causes the water to bead up and roll off. It adds a hydrophobic graphene coating, keeps the wheels protected, and it also makes them much easier to clean. But first, I gotta rinse everything off. Take your product, and there's two settings. There's a stream and there's a spray. You want to make sure it's on the spray setting because that fans it out. So you can clearly see right now there's zero water beading on these wheels. The water is just laying flat, and that's because brake dust is extremely corrosive. It has killed any type of wax protection that the owner might have applied to the wheels, and therefore the wheels are not protected. So by applying this, it's going to protect the wheels. It makes the surface slick, glossy, Well, actually, not glossy in this case. It'll enhance the mats, but it keeps them protected. So I have my hose nozzles on one hand and the bottle in the other. I'm simply going to take it, spray it on, and rinse it off. And you'll notice immediately, water activated, the waters are beating up. And then just for good measure, I'm going to apply one more coat because this is a high performance car. I'm going to rinse it off. And then the wheel's protected. And I want to point out real quick, so this Charger, it's a Hellcat, it's not an inexpensive car. It has the two-piece Brembo rotors plus the 6-piston calipers. This process and these products are safe on every type of wheel and brake. So if your vehicle has carbon ceramic rotors, the same process is safe on those as well. Now, it's a really hot day here in Florida. I'm working in the sun first because for camera, it looks a lot better in the sun versus the shade. So the vehicle is exposed to the sun on this side. If you're working in very hot, sunny conditions, or if you live in South Florida like I do, before you wash the rest of the vehicle, it's not a bad idea to take a towel, or if you have a mini car dryer, and quickly dry off the wheel before moving on. That way it helps prevent water spots, especially if you take a break to go to the restroom, or you take a break to get something to drink, or talk to your wife, whatever it is. So we sell dedicated wheel and tire towels that are black in color, so that way you don't cross-contaminate everything. It also keeps your gold towels nice and clean, because if you miss a spot, which chances are it's possible, you don't want to have brake dust on your fancy gold towels that you use to wipe paint down. So having a black towel, it's a visual indicator for you that it's just for wheels and tires. And also if you want to double dip and do door jams as well, that's fine. But I'll tell you, the hydrographene makes these wheels so easy to dry. This is not a dedicated drying towel. This is just an all-purpose towel, but it makes them so much easier to dry. So doing that, it just helps prevent any kind of water spots as you work your way around the rest of the vehicle. Especially, you know, in my situation, I'm filming a video, so the whole process is going to take me longer than usual. And the last thing I want is to have water spots on a vehicle that's not mine especially. So I'm going to repeat this process over the entire vehicle. I'm going to clean all 4 wheels and tires, and then we'll get back and we'll talk about the paint. And if you're looking at these calipers, looking at these rotors and you're saying, well, they're rusty, I have a solution for that. So don't go away. That'll be one of the last things we cover, but I have a lot of work to do, so I'm going to get started here. Man, the wheels look a lot better. Hey, welcome back. So at this point, I've cleaned all 4 wheels and tires on this Charger. The next step is to actually wash the vehicle. But before I wash the entire body, I have to remove the bug splatter from the front end. And before I get any farther, I have to let my bug sponges soak. Now, Mckee 37, we manufacture a product for every square inch of the vehicle, inside and out. And one of our most popular accessories are the Roadkill bug scrubbers. And these guys are sold in a 2-pack. And it's a real specialized open cell yellow honeycomb foam. And the way this works is the honeycomb texture essentially scrubs off the stubborn bug splatter. However, after you let it soak, it softens up considerably, but you still retain the honeycomb texture. So if you buy one of these, you might go, oh my gosh, you want me to use this on my vehicle? Well, yeah, but you have to use it the right way. So I have my bucket of water here set up in my Carolina detailing cart. Like I said, so I'm not bending over. I'm going to use some Graphene Auto Wash, which this is the most concentrated, highest sudsing, glossiest, most protective wash that we sell. It's the one I always reach for, even though all of our washes are really good. I'll squirt some in the bucket, and then I'll take my grit guard insert and I'll create the foam. And a grit guard insert sits at the bottom of the bucket, and this is designed so after you wash a section, you take your wash mitt and you agitate it against the grit guard insert. The dirt and grime is released, and it's trapped in these fins at the bottom of the bucket. So that way you're not instilling swirl marks and scratches into the paint by grinding the previously removed dirt back into the finish. So take your grit guard and stir it up. And this soap makes a mountain of suds. It smells great. It's super slick. It rinses freely. It is a phenomenal product. So take my sponges, drop them in there, let them soak real well. And I'll also let my wash mitt soak too. And typically, depending on how dirty the car is, sometimes I'll use one wash mitt, but this car has been about a 2,000-mile road trip, so I'm going to use 2 wash mitts, one for the bottom portion and one for the top portion. So I'll let that soak, but otherwise the rest of the supplies I have set up here, I have my car wash, which I showed you. I have the Roadkill bug remover, and I also have a bottle of Tarmax tar remover. Now this is something that I often tell people to buy, and the reason why is, you know, they often respond with, well, I don't have any tar. Well, you don't wait until you have tar to have a tar remover, because if you get road tar in your vehicle, if you don't have a tar remover, it can be a real mess to remove by the time you wait a couple days to get your product in the mail. So it's always good to have a tar remover handy. This is phenomenal. We have separate videos on it. And then the other one is the Graphene, same product I showed on the wheels. I'm going to perform on the paint too. But first up, I got to remove the bug splatter using our Roadkill bug remover, which this contains a special enzyme that is specially formulated to break down the bug splatter so they don't cause any damage to your paint. So let's get to it. So it's been a few minutes, my bug sponges have been soaking, and now it's time to remove the bug splatter. I perform this step after washing the wheels and tires, but before I wash the rest of the vehicle. So using Roadkill bug remover, spray an ample amount directly on the surface. This product does not smell bad, and like I mentioned, it contains a specialized enzyme that breaks down the stubborn bug splatter so it can be safely removed. And this is safe on all exterior surfaces, and it creates a nice foaming lather as you spray it on. And a lot of times you might be tempted not to use a product like this because you think, well, my car's ceramic coated or it's graphene coated and the bugs come off pretty easy. I can just use a sponge. And truth be told, yeah, you can, but here's the issue. This breaks down the bug splatter completely, so it's all removed, all trace residues. What's not removed completely, which you often don't see, will etch the surface over time. When it etches the paint, well, the only way to fix that is to actually wet sand the surface, and even then it's likely too far gone. So you spray it on, and then take your bug sponge. And the trick to using this guy is you're not going to apply any pressure, and you want to reload it with soapy water frequently. So you have to mentally tell yourself that you're not scrubbing off last night's lasagna that's baked on the stovetop. Be very gentle. Let the cleaner do the work for you, and the honeycomb texture will grab onto that bug splatter, just like you can see right here, and it does the work as well. So the cleaner combined with the honeycomb texture is really all you need. So dunk it frequently in your wash bucket. And that's it. Use it on headlights, plastic trim, your grille, your mirrors. Now there's another tip that I'll share with you. If you're traveling on the road and you're staying at a hotel or something like that, one way to help soften the bug splatter, if you don't have access to a hose or anything like this, is take a towel, even like a bath towel from the hotel, and get it wet with water and lay that over the surface of the vehicle. That'll help soften the bug remains. So remember, I said I'm going to use the word lubrication a lot. Leave a comment below and let me know how many times I've said it so far, okay? And what's also nice too is when you're using this sponge, it'll conform and mold to different parts of the vehicle. So, you know, we have this functional fresh air intake here on the front bumper of this Charger. The sponge, it'll squeeze down and get into the tight spots so you can really get them clean. And especially too for these honeycomb textured grills and intakes, it works extremely well on all of that. Once you've completely removed all the bug splatter, take your hose and rinse everything off. In Roadkill Bug Remover, it rinses completely off the surface without leaving any kind of film. Now that that's out of the way, the next part is the fun part, and that's using the Mckee 37 foam gun. We have the foam gun available in two sizes. There's the quart model and there's the half gallon. The difference is the size of the canister. The half gallon is 64 ounces, and the way this works is you fill it with water, and then you add your soap, and our Graphene Auto Wash works extremely well in the foam gun. And with this foam gun, what I like about using this is that it hooks up to a standard garden hose. You do not need a pressure washer, which if you have a pressure washer, we have one for that too. But you simply add the water and then the soap. And the reason you do it that way is because if you add soap and then water, well, you'll be overwhelmed with suds before you actually fill up the container. So you have your solution mixed in there. And then on top of this, there's an adjustment meter, and there's different size holes. You want to make sure you have it on the largest hole and that it clicks into place. Otherwise, you won't get any foam. So put it on there, shake it up well. And what's really nice about our foam gun is that it contains brass quick connect fittings, and you get the nozzle with it. And there's a lot of foam guns in the market. Most of them are really inexpensive, and their quick connect fittings, if they even have them, they're completely plastic. Well, this is brass. This is designed to last a long time. So you'll see the trend with everything at McKees37.com. We carry the best quality. So once you get it set up, go ahead and take your unit and foam down the vehicle. Now, if you're like me and you don't normally get your family involved with the car wash process, this is a great opportunity or an excuse to get your kids or your wife involved, because everybody likes the foam gun. Now, when you attach this, it's really important, make sure it's secure, because over time, if it gets dirty, you get a dirt particle trapped in there, you'll shoot the foam gun at your car. So, and that's just not for our foam gun, that's for anything with a quick connect. Always make sure it's securely in place. Then foam the car down. And there's many advantages to using a foam gun, besides the fact that it's fun, and you can do it with your whole family, but it also encapsulates the dirt particle, and it acts as a pre-soak, so it loosens the dirt and the grit particles. And best of all, it helps reduce water spots, because, typically, when I was taught to wash a car by my dad when I was real young, his first step was to say, rinse everything with water, rinse the car off. Well, then you get water spots. So the foam gun, you foam everything down, you don't get water spots, at least not with Mckee's 37, because you can actually let the soap dry on the surface, which I'll elaborate more on later. So foam it down real well. And that was normally when you would take a break and take a picture for Instagram or Facebook, or maybe you're still on MySpace, because it looks cool. All right, now she's all foamed down. And there's really no method or science behind the way I use the foam gun. Some people talk very specifically about going this direction or this direction. I just cover the vehicle in foam and then I wash it. So, but a lot of times you can start at the top, work your way down. You don't really start at the bottom and work your way up, because when you start at the top and work your way down, the foam runs down the vehicle and releases dirt. But otherwise, if you start in the middle or at the top or whatever, you want to write your name, Nick, that's fine too, but so long as you get the vehicle covered in foam. And the next step is I'm going to disconnect this guy. I'm going to grab my wash mitt and actually start washing the vehicle. Okay, so I've got two of my wash mitts in here, and I'm going to start at the top of the vehicle and work my way down. There's a lot of car washes on the market. Mckee's 37, all of our formulas are developed and tested in South Florida, the Sunshine State, where it's hot, it's humid, and frankly, you cannot avoid the sun. The sun is always out. So all of our car washes can be used in the sun, and you don't have to worry about causing any issues, which is the complete opposite of what you'll read on everybody else's car wash. So start at the top and work your way down. This Charger has a real big roof, so I'll divide this in two. And I normally wash one side of the vehicle at a time. And I'll wash all the painted surfaces from the belt line up, which the belt line is where the bottom of the window is. And then what I'll do is, normally I would dunk my wash mitt at this point to reload. However, I have the glass here, and the glass is not really going to get scratched like the paint would, not nearly as easily. So I'll take my mitt and I'll flip it over and I'll wash the side windows, the windshield here. And our Graphene Auto Wash, man, it smells so good. It smells awesome. Now, it's really important that you reload your wash mitt frequently because there's that word, lubrication. You want lots of lubrication on the paint. So after all the top side sections are washed, take your wash mitt, set it aside, and use a dedicated wash mitt for the lower portions. You don't always have to do this, but if the vehicle is especially dirty, it's good practice too. And also for the emblems, remember that 1-inch boar's hair brush from Wheel Woolies? This guy works great to clean the emblems where dirt often accumulates and a regular wash mitt simply doesn't clean. So I'm going to wash the lower portions, and then we're going to rinse the vehicle off and apply hydrographene. Once you completely wash the vehicle, then it's time to rinse it off. And you might have noticed that I have not rinsed the vehicle once. And the reason why is because if the Graphene Auto Wash dries on the surface, that's okay. Soap does not create water spots. Water creates water spots. So more than likely, you're using a product right now, or you were taught like I was to wash a panel and rinse a panel because you don't want to let the soap dry. Well, with Mckee's 37 soaps, they can dry on the surface because like I said, we're in South Florida. You can't avoid the sun. And the reason we do that is high quality chemistry. So the next step is I'm going to quickly rinse the entire vehicle off and then apply hydrographene ceramic coating. After everything's been rinsed off, then it's time to apply hydrographene ceramic coating. This is a spray-on, rinse-off graphene ceramic coating. It's not a spray wax, it's not a detailer, it is the real deal. It blankets the vehicle in paint protection that lasts several months. It's relentless, provides relentless water beading and extreme gloss. Using it is simple. You work one panel at a time, 3 or 4 sprays, and then you immediately rinse it off. Here's how you do it. Hydrographene is water activated, so it's not something that you spray on and wipe off. You spray it on and you rinse it off. The water activates the product and it spreads it out and it produces instantaneous water beading. Check this out. Once the entire vehicle has been coated with hydrographene, it's time to dry it. One of the thousands of benefits of that product is that it makes the car so easy to dry because water beads up, makes the surface super hydrophobic, and the towel just covers it in one pass. So this is our Glacier 1100, which is available in multiple sizes, and you simply throw it across the hood. This is the 30 by 50 inch size, and in one pass, look at that, sucks up all the water. So I like to use this size towel for all the horizontal surfaces, like the hood, the roof, and the trunk. And then for a big car like this, I can even use it on the sides because it has pockets built in, so you're not dragging it on the ground. But we also have smaller ones too, for if your vehicle is not the size of this Charger Hellcat, you know, if you have something smaller like a Fiat or a Civic or something like that, but makes it really easy to dry the car. And like I mentioned, it's actually 2 towels sewn together, so a whopping 1100 GSM. Very thirsty towel. So I'll use a larger Glacier drying towel, the 30 by 50, on all the horizontal surfaces like I mentioned. And then for the side of the vehicle, the 20 by 30 inch really excels because it's a little more manageable, easier to hold on to. So you don't have to worry about it dragging across the ground. especially for a smaller vehicle. And then the last step after I finish drying it is I'll use the 16 by 16 inch Glacier drying towel along with our Mini Car Dryer Pro. But first, I have to get the water off all the vertical surfaces. Man, the paint is super slick at this point, so I've dried the entire car. Now it's time to blast water out of the cracks and crevices, and for that, I'm going to use the Mini Car Dryer Pro. This is a all-steel powder-coated car dryer that blows heated, filtered air. It has a soft rubber tip, so if contact occurs, you don't have to worry about scratching the paint. And basically, the idea behind this is we've all dealt with the frustration of washing our car, drying it, and then a couple hours later, we see drips of water come out from the mirrors, from the emblems, the headlights, even the wheels. On this particular Charger, we have the heat extractor, then we have the intake. So water hides in all those areas, and a towel simply doesn't get in these areas. So this guy blows air to blast the water out. Check this out. Now remember I told you there were 1,000 benefits to using hydrographene? Well, I take that back. There's 1,001. Because if you recall, it coats everything because it's a spray and then you rinse it off. So even when you're blasting water out of your grille or your emblems or your front lip, it makes every surface hydrophobic, which means water fearing. So water beads up and it comes off so much easier. And then you take your smaller Glacier towel, the 16 by 16 inch, which this is a very manageable size, and you can fold it in 4 and just get any light water drips that remain on the front bumper. And that's it, but basically work your way around the entire vehicle. The key areas to use this are your mirrors, your door handles, your window trim, your wheels, your grille. If you have a cool car like this, your heat extractor, your intake, the back of the car where your exhausts are, anywhere that water can hide. So this takes about 5 minutes. This guy has a 25-foot power cord, so you can easily get around the whole car. And best of all, it's made in USA, so you know it's quality. But I have a lot of car to dry, so I'll get back to work. Man, the car looks really good. So the next step is after I've washed and dried it, I've pulled it in the garage, and my normal routine at this point is that, you know, it's the weekend, I'm usually involved in some type of family activity, and we might go somewhere. So when you pull the car in the garage, what I normally do afterwards, or maybe an hour or 2 later, is I dress the tires, and I also touch up the wheels. So if you recall, when I was cleaning the wheels earlier, I mentioned, hey, this nasty rusty appearance, which surely you notice because these brake rotors are huge, there's an easy way to get rid of that. And the way to get rid of that is to just simply drive the vehicle in the garage. Now, if it doesn't go away after pulling in a few feet, you can ride the brake just a little bit, and what it does is it clamps the rotor and it takes care of that light layer of rust. But then you have some real fine powder on your wheels, so I'm going to double dip. I'm going to dress the tires, and then I'm going to wipe the wheels down with the graphene detail spray. So the graphene detail spray will remove that light layer of dust from the brakes, and it'll also take care of any possible overspray from the tire shine. So if you recall, I cleaned the tires using Mckee's 37 tire and rubber rejuvenator, and now I'm going to dress them using Mckee's 37 graphene tire shine. So graphene tire shine, it's our longest lasting water-based tire shine. This does have graphene oxide ceramic resins. It lasts a long time. It gives a variable finish depending on how much gloss you want. So you can go for a natural low gloss satin sheen, or if you want a real high gloss bling bling look, you can absolutely do that. Applying it is simple. I use our dual action trim and tire applicator sponge, and this is far superior to a round applicator because you can get real close to the rim here and not actually get any tire shine on the wheel itself. So take the product, shake it well, and this formula will not sling off. A little bit goes a long way. This applicator pad is new, so I'm going to prime it real quick. So I'm going to apply a little bit more product than I normally would, and then take it. And what I like to do is I'll dress half the tire at a time. I'll start out down there, and then I'll start down here. And basically, that provides uniform distribution of the product. And these hand cooks are really, really soft tires. I mean, this is a high performance machine after all, over 700 horsepower. So it needs really soft, grippy tires to transfer all that power to the road. And you can see just how far the graphene tire shine goes. And these tires are relatively easy to dress. And you'll notice, you know, with this applicator sponge, how close you can get to the rim without actually getting any on the rim itself. So that's the advantage of using this versus a round applicator, because the round applicator, you're going to get it all over your wheel. And it's a wasted product. It adds time. I'm going to put a little bit more on there. Again, I'll spread it out like that. I'll go back down here. And if you want to get really hardcore, which I've done this before, after you dress the tires, pull the vehicle forward like a foot or back a foot, and then maybe an area that you missed, because depending on the tire, how close it is to the ground, the way the sidewall is, you might need to touch it up. So but that's optional. This applicator gets close enough to where I normally don't have to do it. But nice thin coat, it looks great. It'll dry to the touch and it will not sling off. And then the next step is to touch up the wheel. And for that, I'm going to use our graphene detail spray. So you can do this right after you wash the car when you pull it in the garage, or sometimes, you know, like with me, with my routine, I'll wash the car before church on Sunday. We'll go to church, come home, eat lunch. By then I've got like 10 miles in the car, and it's just satisfying for me to go back out in the garage and clean it up. So take the graphene detail spray, and you can spray it directly onto the wheel. Take care of that light layer of dust, and then just take an old towel. Don't use one of your nicer towels, and wipe it off. It's good to have one of those black towels too, for the wheel and tire, but this is just a inexpensive all-purpose green towel that I found laying around. So I'll use this guy. And this is just, I find this therapeutic, so not only is this beneficial, but it's relaxing to do, especially on the weekend. You know, you can listen to some music in your garage, or hang out with your kids, whatever it is. And just like that, I mean, now the wheel and tire looks even better. So I'm going to repeat this process around the entire vehicle. And another advantage of having the detail spray handy is if you go to the store and you get some light dust on the car, or maybe your spouse or your kids, when they get in the car, they put their fingerprints on the paint. So you can use this, again, just to go around the car a couple hours later to remove any fingerprints, any light dust, smudges. You know, maybe when you went for a drive afterwards, there was some water hiding somewhere else that the car dryer did not remove it. So you'll just use that. So the detail spray is great to have handy. I'm going to dress all the tires and clean all the wheels real quick. And then I'm going to do the door jambs with the same product. So we'll see you then. Looks good. Man, perfectly dressed tires are the finishing touch on an otherwise pristinely, perfectly detailed vehicle. And besides adding more appearance to the vehicle by dressing the tires, it actually protects the rubber and rehydrates the tires with natural rubber conditioners as well. Now, the last step that I like to perform after inspecting everything and using the detail spray to remove any light contamination, like I mentioned, is I'll wipe down the door jambs and the trunk lid. So you spend all this time making your car look great, and you open the door, and the last thing you want to see are dirty door jambs. So what I like to do is I quickly go through using our graphene detail spray, and again, an old microfiber towel, nothing fancy, and just simply spray and wipe like that. And you don't have to use the graphene detail spray. You can use any kind of spray that you have. Maybe you have something extra in your garage that you bought, you tried, you didn't like as much, but you don't want to throw it away. Well, use it for the door jambs. And you can see just how much grime I removed with just one spray and wipe. So there's nothing like having the rest of the car look amazing, and then when you open the car, the door jambs look awful. But man, I'll tell you what, this Charger cleaned up beautifully. Most people that see this vehicle probably think that we spent several hours or even days polishing and coating and doing all these multiple steps and spending a fortune, but this is just after a simple wash with Mckee's 37 Graphene Auto Wash, and then using Mckee's 37 Hydrographene Ceramic Coating, and then of course the Graphene Detail Spray for the finishing touch, and also we clean the wheels and we dress the tires. But otherwise, that's really it. So you can achieve results like this in the comfort of your driveway or garage by using Mckee's 37 products. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, feel free to call or email or comment below. Remember, there's a kind of a contest going for how many times I mentioned lubricity. So if you counted how many times, leave it below. I'm going to guess, I don't know, 30, 40, but it might be much higher than that. If you like videos like this, make sure you click the subscribe button because I'm always uploading new content. Give me a thumbs up, leave a comment, and most importantly, shop at mckees37.com. You can find our products virtually everywhere online. But I'll tell you, if you're located in the 48 states and you like these videos, well, our website supports the YouTube channel and makes it possible so we can make videos like this. So for more information, mckees37.com. I'm going to finish wiping down the rest of the door jambs in this Charger. Take care, God bless, and thank you so much for the support.